The Sales on Demand Show, Episode 14. Hi, folks. Welcome to the Sales on Demand Show, where you learn how to create, sustain, and scale up your print-on-demand business with the latest tips, guides, and information to help you start selling and making money today. Welcome to the Sales on Demand Show, and I'm your host, Adam Schneider. So today, we are going to talk about merch by Amazon. And first of all, let me give you a quick update. Oh, I suppose I should mention you can find this show on the web at www.salesondemandshow.com. Don't forget, iTunes is probably the best way to subscribe to the show. I don't have a subscription feature on the homepage yet, or an email list for that matter, but I'm working on that, and it's coming. So, some quick updates. Right now it is mid-March, and the world is melting outside, which is wonderful, and also really messy. So everybody's kind of just waiting for spring to start, and I believe, what is it, the 18th today? Yeah, it's the 18th of March today, so spring is like 3 days away. So isn't that awesome? That's pretty awesome. I think so. For sales, it's pretty slow right now. Just kind of waiting on the next big holiday, which I was thinking to myself that it's actually Mother's Day, but it's actually Easter, and I kind of forgot about that. But Easter's never really been a huge holiday for print-on-demand, but it is a holiday, so you should always pay attention to every holiday. And there are some holidays that are kind of the made-up kind of holidays, like International Day of the Sock Puppet, which is something I just made up off the top of my head. But we did have the International Day of Women a week and a half ago. That would have been a good one to get in on. Although I would not recommend making products specifically for a one-day holiday like that. I would instead recommend making a product that is targeted to the kind of people who would buy something like that. So a product targeted to women, celebrating women, their value in society, their value to us as men or whatever. Just that kind of thing would probably sell well on International Women's Day, but I wouldn't make a item that says, "Hey, Happy International Women's Day," unless you just were making it as kind of a throwaway thing. You could maybe do that. But I wouldn't definitely not expect that to sell well outside of the one holiday that it would be good for. So, sales for me are kind of meh. They're not amazing, but they're all right. Haven't been really working too hard on things. Still working on my case study for Mother's Day. I am going to be creating between 7 and 10 different designs, and I'm going to be testing those designs to see which one is going to sell. And that case study, I'm going to bring a fully fleshed research. So I'm going to be showing you how I researched the designs, how I selected the designs, how I created the designs, and basically what happens when I tested them. And I'm going to be sending some products to Amazon for FBA just in time for Mother's Day, and then I'm going to be ranking those with pay-per-click advertising. And that case study is going to be part of the course that is coming up here. So you'll be able to watch me do that basically in real time. And, there's nothing better than, I think, watching someone actually do something to see how it works. So, yeah, that's coming up. Doing about 5 to 8 sales per day with really no ongoing effort. These are passive sales, right? And my goal for the end of the year is to get to 100 sales per day on Amazon, and then I'll start working on other platforms. I mean, Etsy is always going to be there. Etsy, again, is not my sort of primary area, but I do sell on Etsy, and everything that gets listed on Amazon pretty much gets listed on Etsy as well, because why not, right? So today, actually, we're going to be talking about another platform that you can sell your designs on, and it is called Merch by Amazon. Now, this is not the kind of listing I've been talking about so far, where you You create designs through a print-on-demand supplier and you upload it or you manually list it to Amazon. This is not what I'm talking about. This is a completely different program, and it is exclusive to Amazon, and it is actually, well, it's kind of exclusive. You have to actually apply to be part of this program, and I believe Amazon does not always accept everybody into the program. So I'm going to find you a link to apply for Merch by Amazon, and I will put that in the show notes. So you'll be able to just click on that link and go and apply to sell Merch by Amazon. So let me just describe what merch is in case you're hiding under a rock and you've never heard of this. And I'm not just being facetious, but I mean most people who do print on demand know what merch is, but I'll just quickly go through this. So probably a couple of years ago, Amazon got into the t-shirt printing business, and they started accepting people who were designers to upload their designs to Amazon, which would create a listing on Amazon. And if that design sold on a t-shirt listing, Amazon would print the design onto a t-shirt and ship it to the customer. And it's Prime eligible, so it means the customer gets the free shipping, or I don't believe it's 2-day shipping because, you know what, I can't tell you how it works, to be honest with you, because I don't do a ton of Merch by Amazon, and I will explain why Merch by Amazon is not my preferred platform, but it is a good platform to sell on, particularly if you're a pretty good designer and you have lots of already existing product designs and ideas that you can just quickly make into a design and upload. So lots of people are making lots of money. There are tons of people out there selling courses on how to do Merch by Amazon, which is really weird because you can't really make a ton of money from Merch by Amazon unless you are in the top tier, and I'll explain what tiers are in a minute, but I just don't know why people are selling so many courses on how to do this. It's pretty simple. It's not rocket science. You upload designs, and then if it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So quickly get started here. Merch by Amazon. Amazon prints the t-shirts. It's by invitation only, air quotes. If you apply and they invite you, that's invitation. But the designs tend to be fairly fancy, and they are generally t-shirt style designs, so they're kind of the fancy kind of script. Now, this is a little bit different from coffee mug designs. Coffee mug designs can and usually are fairly simple because it's the text on the mug that really stands out, not the design and the format and all that. So for me, not being a high-end graphic designer, making a Merch by Amazon design would probably take me far too much time. So I do buy some designs, and I've tested uploading these, along with uploading those same designs to Etsy. So this is where, if you're already selling online, Merch by Amazon can be an excellent way to just maximize your potential sales. Because if you got a design that's already selling, and it's a desirable design, then it makes sense to upload that design to as many different platforms as you possibly can, just to maximize the amount of money that you're going to make from it. So Merch by Amazon is one of those platforms that you can upload to and sell with it. However, there are some, we'll call them qualifiers that you have to get in order to have the product approved. So first of all, when you sign up for Merch, it does take a couple of months to get approved to sell. And, I think it took 4 months. So I just applied. This was probably a year and a half ago. I just put the application in and completely forgot about it. And then a couple months later, I don't even remember how many, I got this email that you've been approved to sell Merch by Amazon. And I was like, oh, good. I don't know what to do with this. So, again, I just left it and didn't really think about it. But some time went by, and I just, here and there, I will read up on Merch, and I mean, I'm sort of generally aware of how it works, and I have uploaded. Uh, don't laugh at this. I have 6 products live on merch. So basically, how it works is you start off at the bottom. You can upload 1 design per day up to a max of 10 designs. That is called Tier 1. Merch works in tiers. So you basically level up. It's like an RPG kind of. You level up by selling 10 or 100 of your t-shirt designs, and then you get up to the next tier. So it's not tier as in like you're crying and you're weeping because nobody wants to buy your stuff. It's tier, T-I-E-R, like level. So if you're not English, welcome to the English language. It's a terrible language. We basically track down every other language on Earth. We throw them in a dark alley, beat the crap out of them, and steal some of their vocabulary. And tier is French for something. Level must be. It's funny, I speak French. I don't even know what it means. So, tier 1 is where you start. You only can upload 10 designs. So this is where most people, including myself, just sort of stall out. But it's not that I don't know how to get there. It's just that I just haven't had time. And I haven't seen it as being a super useful use of my quite limited time. Because, as you probably know, I am still working. I have a job that I really like. And I'm not interested in quitting my job. So this is a side gig for me. So I have to make the absolute best use of my time. And Merch by Amazon hasn't been the greatest use of my time because I can only upload 1 thing per day. I usually like to do things like this in a bulk. So I will do, 20, 30 designs in a day, upload them all, but then I won't do anything for a couple of weeks just because that's how my time works. Like today I have the entire day off, but I start work tomorrow, so I can't really do anything tomorrow, but I can do lots today. Hence, I am recording my podcast, and I'm also recording some videos for the upcoming course. Now, you can only upload 1 product per day on the first tier. I believe that you get more uploads per day as you tier up. So, getting past that first tier, how do you do that? That's the magical question. Well, it's actually pretty simple. Once you get past tier 1, I believe the next tier is that you can have 100 products live. That's quite a few. 100 designs is a lot. It'd take you 100 days to upload that many. So, I mean, you can see that this is kind of a slow burn, right? So it's not like a regular Etsy account or something like that where you can just blast a whole bunch of designs up there and be just, kicking back with your feet up and making lots of sales. No, you gotta work on this every single day. So I have some ideas here, and I actually gleaned these from a couple of blogs that I saved posts. So the first blog that I particularly like for merch is called Merch Pursuits, and I'll link to that in the show notes. As always, it is merchpursuits.com, and there's a bunch of blog posts here. There's another one called merchinformer.com, of course. This one actually has a lot of useful tips on how to make those first few sales so that you can tier up. And basically, I think what a lot of people do is they'll just basically break even for the first few tiers. So on tier 1, you can only upload 10 designs. You got to make 10 sales to make the next tier. So how do you do that? Well, the easiest way to do that is to, think of a few t-shirts that you'd like to own and get someone to buy some listings from you, because you can put up a listing, and if it sells, whatever. You can also delete it, so you don't have to keep every listing that you upload up there. And in fact, Amazon will actually delete anything that doesn't sell for a few months. So it's just kind of their way of like cutting off the blubber from their product listing catalog. So, I mean, I've gone to my merch account and seen Amazon say, "Oh, we deleted this listing because it wasn't selling," and I'm like, "All right, fine." But just like anything on Amazon, even if you have a great idea, it's quite competitive. And merch is particularly competitive, um, just because it really doesn't cost anything to do this. And I feel like there's a lot of graphic designers out there or people who know how to do t-shirts, and they're just blasting out these t-shirt designs. So they're definitely ahead of me on that one. I don't have well, not any, but I don't have good design skills, and I don't have enough time to sit there and create, because some people are at the 20,000 listing tier. Yes, there are people who can list 20,000 designs on merch, which is crazy. I mean, how do you even come up with 20,000 t-shirts? So that's, you'd probably, someone like that is buying t-shirt designs in bulk or something like that. I don't even know how you do that. I don't even have 5,000 listings on Amazon, and I've spent 2 years doing this. So, getting back to how to start and grow a merch account, keep in mind, I'm not doing this. I don't have time for this, but it is a good way to make money, especially if you have decent t-shirt designs that have already sold on Etsy, or you have, let's say you have a group and they want some bulk t-shirts or something like that. Well, this is a great way to get tiered up with Merch by Amazon. So let's talk here. How to get from tier 1 to tier 2. So I already mentioned that you could just create a design for a t-shirt that you would like to wear yourself. So, I mean, it literally can be any stupid thing that it says. I don't believe, and here's the thing, that each listing has to be approved. So I'm not sure about swearing. I think mild swearing is okay. I don't think the F word is okay. Don't quote me on that, though. Also, it gets trademark checked. So if it's a trademark phrase, they'll just knock it down. They won't let you post it. And there's other criteria that they look at. So I've never had a listing disapproved, but I also know that the designs that I've uploaded have not been a trademark phrase. And we'll actually talk about trademark a little bit at the end of this podcast. That's going to be another episode all on its own, maybe even 2 of them. Trademark is a huge problem in this design space, and you need to know how to maneuver around it. So basically, create a design that you'd like to wear and get someone else with an Amazon account to purchase it for you, and then just give it to you and then reimburse them. Now, when you list a Merch by Amazon listing, it lets you set the price, and you can say, well, I'd like to set it at $20, which would give me a profit of like $6 or $7. It's not amazing profit, but there is profit. So what I would do is I would just set it so that you're not making any profit, and then somebody buy it, and then you reimburse them whatever money they spent on it. And I don't believe that this violates Amazon's terms of service. A lot of people are doing this to get started. As long as you're not getting the same person to buy all of the products, you're probably okay. They're not going to shut down your merch account for fraud or whatever, because they are still making money off the t-shirt, right? Now, the other thing that you can do, instead of buying your own t-shirts through someone else, is that you can find a group of people who might like a specific kind of t-shirt. And it's actually probably easier to find this than you think. You got to think, guys. Like, think outside the box. Don't be stuck in this mindset of, I don't know what to do next. Like, okay, do you go to a church? Are you part of a club? Are you part of a sports team? Do you play chess? Do you do something with a group of people? Do you get together with a bunch of guys or gals and play Dungeons and Dragons? Like, think of groups of people who you can create a design for and upload that design and say, hey guys, Merry Christmas. I created a design for you guys for t-shirts, and if you buy this t-shirt, you'll get it at cost. Like, don't give them away, but you can basically give it for cost, which I believe is like $15-16. So Don't quote me on that again. I don't know what the cost of these things are. I'm just sort of giving you the overall view here. But another way to do this is a local sports team. Even if you aren't playing on that sports team, you say to them, hey guys, would you guys like t-shirts with your sports team logo on it? And if they give you permission, then it's fine, right? So don't just go and do it and then, try to get them to buy it, because that's kind of stupid. But talk to them ahead of time and be like, hey, send me the design for your sports team or whatever, your logo. I will upload it to Amazon. You can buy these t-shirts and you can wear them, and then see if you can get them to buy 10. And if they buy 10 or enough people buy enough to make 10, then you will get to the next level. And then you've got 100 design uploads, which sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. So how do you fill those design slots? Like, once you get past this, actually, I want to give you a couple more ways to sell your initial bunch of t-shirts here. So there is a way to advertise a listing that you upload through Amazon sponsored products. So I do this a lot with my regular Amazon listings. I do a ton of advertising because advertising works, guys. There's a reason that Facebook is making gobs of money off of advertising. Google's making gobs of money. Basically, in the old days when you used to watch TV, it was all paid for by advertising, right? So advertising works, and there's a reason that people pay big money for advertising, because it does work, and it does work for print on demand. So on Amazon, you can create an Amazon sponsored product link. Now, you need to make sure that if you're going to advertise a listing, that it's something that people probably would buy. So, pick a holiday, Mother's Day. I don't think Mother's Day is huge for t-shirts, but you probably would sell a few. Trying to think of, like, Father's Day is probably a little bit better for t-shirts. You know what? Scratch that. I think Mother's Day would be good for t-shirts too. So you create a design for that holiday, upload it to your Merch by Amazon store, and again, this might be something you're doing in like 4 months if you're just applying for Merch by Amazon, because it might take you that long to be approved. But you can advertise it using Amazon sponsored ads, and I do believe that if you have a Seller Central account, that you can advertise your product through that Seller Central account. Now, this is what I'm seeing on these blog posts here, and I'm going to link to these blog posts here. I'm not 100%, I've not tried this. So if it doesn't work, please do not send a exploding glitter bomb in the mail to me out of rage because I gave you bad advice, because I don't know how this works. I've never done it. It just hasn't been worth it for me. I make much better profits off of selling just regular listings on Amazon, even though they're not eligible for Prime. It just is easier for me. But if you want to give it a try, lots of people are making decent money off of Merch by Amazon. And I think the best way to get started, once you kind of get into it, if you upload a listing and you're like, oh, I want this listing to sell for Mother's Day, remember that most of the money we make from print on demand is made during special holidays where we create a design, or we have a design that is really good for people during a special holiday: Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, Easter, blah, 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 Halloween, the holidays, right? So that's where we make most of our money. So advertise it before that holiday to have the most beneficial effects. I mean, there's no good advertising a shirt for your mom in, August. You might make a few sales, but you'll make more sales if you advertise that t-shirt in April, right? So this is how you got to think. This is not an evergreen selling space here. So we are definitely holiday focused. So take a look at those links, see what you think. If you got any questions, you can ask me, definitely. I have a new email account. It's adam at salesondemandshow.com. Pretty easy to remember. Just remember my name is Adam, Adam, at salesondemandshow.com. Send me an email with questions, whatever. So I just thought I'd quickly talk about Trademark. Now, a lot of people believe that print on demand is going to die because of Trademark. And, there is some, okay, I'm not going to say that they're correct in any measure because they're not. Okay, I will be selling print on demand long after everybody who believes the sky is falling has quit. This is a great business model. I like it. It's not a regular paycheck kind of business model. It's an up and down, Sales do not follow a set pattern, so it goes up and down. It's not the kind of thing for people who want to go and work for minimum wage, right? This is a truly entrepreneurial business model, and it requires somebody with nerves of steel. Well, we'll call it nerves of copper, or maybe nerves of like really hard rock to kind of make this work. I'm just messing with you guys. You don't have to have nerves of steel to sell here. You just got to be patient. Now there's a trend here, and this affects merch by Amazon probably more than it affects my coffee mug selling. But there are people out there who will see a very popular phrase like, just trying to think of something here, Bride Squad or Mama Bear. Classy, sassy, and a bit badassy. Oh no, I said a swear word. This will have to be explicit now. No. So basically what they do is they go and they trademark that with the U.S. Trademark and Patent Protection Office. I might have got some of that acronym wrong, but they basically trademark that design, that phrase with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. And a lot of people get confused about trademark and copyright. So I'm going to explain this to you really quickly in as simple way as I can, okay? Copyright, if you write a book, you own a copyright to that book, whether you register it or not. So somebody cannot take the text of that book and sell it as their own book. That's your book. However, the ideas of the book, the general, the general flow of the book, you don't own the story type. So if you write a story about a space adventure, you don't own a copyright to space adventure stories. You just own a copyright to that story that you wrote. Now, the title of your story cannot be copywritten. So this is where a lot of people get kind of confused, and they say, well, you can't put the title of a song on a t-shirt because it's a copyright issue. Now, I still wouldn't necessarily recommend using song titles on a t-shirt because I don't recommend using someone else's work to make money. So if someone else came up with something and made that popular and you try and sell a product with the title of the song or something on it, you're benefiting from someone else's work, right? And I just don't think that you should do that. However, just putting the title of a song on a product is not necessarily by itself illegal, and copyright does not prevent that. Now, trademark might, because if someone confuses your product and believes that you are associated with that artist, then you are violating their trademark. So here's an example, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's, Beat It. So if you put a t-shirt out there that said, just beat it, and you were clearly referencing the Michael Jackson song, right? And you were not doing it in satire, but you were just trying to sell to people who like Michael Jackson. That would be a violation of Michael Jackson's trademark, which he owns for that song, because, he created the song. Whatever you think of Michael Jackson, he was a pretty good songwriter, artist, and he created some very memorable music. And everybody knows who Michael Jackson is, at least most people do. And he owns the trademark to that song. So you can't use his song title to sell products. Now, if somebody had a a song title or a title of a book that was not necessarily a popular book. Really very few people knew about it, but they wrote a book and called it, The Bride Squad or something like that. They cannot claim a copyright to that title. Generally speaking, titles and short phrases cannot be copywritten. Otherwise, guys, you can see where the problem would lie, is that everybody would just say, oh, I wrote that on a book title. I own that phrase. You can never use that phrase again because I own it. And that is wrong. I don't believe that anybody should be able to own any phrase whatsoever unless, it is so uniquely attached to their business that it would be clearly a violation of common law trademark to use it. So for example, Nike. Everybody knows the swoosh, right? And what is Nike's trademark phrase? Just do it? Something like that? Yeah, sure. I don't know. I don't buy Nike shoes because I don't want to spend my money on that. But, they clearly trademarked and came up with that, and it's part of their branding. It's part of everything that they do. All of the boxes have that on it. So very clearly, they have made a lot of effort and spent a lot of money to make that their trademark phrase. But what's happening here is that people are coming up with a phrase, and then they're applying to the U.S. Trademark Office saying, this phrase represents my business. And it's a generic phrase that people have been using for sometimes decades. And they're saying, well, I want to own this phrase. And the U.S. Trademark Office, because it's government, is saying, oh, yeah, that sounds good. Okay, you own this phrase. And so what they'll do is they'll take their registered trademark and they'll go on to Amazon and to Etsy, and they'll say, I want you to take down all of these other listings because they're violating my trademark. And that's wrong. And that's a problem, and there are groups that are fighting that problem. And one of the groups that I'm part of on Facebook, and I'm actually donating money to this group. I don't have time to really get involved in what they're doing, but, I'll give them some money because I think that's a worthwhile cause, is that they're fighting these trademark applications. So when somebody is filing a trademark and they're like, I want to trademark the letters AF, which means as F. It's a popular thing to put on print-on-demand stuff. It means it's just a trendy thing to say. So somebody tried to trademark that. So what this group is doing is they're filing a letter of protest against this. And they're saying, no, we protest this trademark. And they've actually got a lot of these trademark applications shut down. So I won't go into this trademark thing anymore because I didn't want this to be the trademark episode. I just wanted this to be the Merch by Amazon episode. So that's part of what I'm doing. Guys, if you want to get part of that, I'll put a link in the show notes to the Facebook group, and you can join it if you want. It's free. And there's no obligation to do anything. But just be aware that there's a group out there fighting these trademarks. So let's talk about the future of Merch by Amazon. So why would I talk about the future of anything? Because the one constant that there is in this business is that in 1 year, things are going to change. Now, maybe in a year, it won't change very much. But if you look at this print-on-demand business in 5 years, I believe it's going to look vastly different than it does right now, which sucks because if you find this podcast in 5 years and listen to it, you might be like, man, what the heck is this guy talking about? None of this stuff is true anymore. Although, I don't believe that that's necessarily going to be the case. It's just going to evolve, right? Business evolves. 5 years ago, print-on-demand was pretty much an unknown business model. Etsy probably didn't even allow print-on-demand products. Etsy used to be only handmade stuff, right? So you had to literally make this stuff at home to sell it on Etsy. You couldn't sell a coffee mug on Etsy if someone else made it. Even if it was your design, they wouldn't have let you because they are handmade, right? Now they've changed the rules to allow people to sell their own designs even if someone else actually makes it. So that's cool. But who knows? I mean, they might change their mind down the road again and say, no, we won't allow this. Although that's not likely to happen because they're making stacks of money off of print on demand. But like I said, the one thing that you can expect in this business is that things are going to change, and you just never know what that change is going to be. So you got to prepare for anything. And the only way to prepare for anything is to always be watching, listening, and learning new techniques, new strategies, and to see what marketplaces are doing. And one of the best places to hear about that is the Sales on Demand show. So one of the things that I hope to be doing on this show is to be reading all the news about marketplaces and to see what they're doing, how they're evolving, and to give you that news so that you can be prepared. So one of the things that I've been hearing about in terms of Merch by Amazon is that they are looking at doing coffee mugs as well as t-shirts. So they're already doing pop sockets on Merch by Amazon, which I didn't even know what a pop socket was. And maybe you don't, but a pop socket is a thing that you stick to the back of your phone so that you can hold it in one hand. And it actually is kind of popular these days. A lot of people have pop sockets, and it just pops out from the back of your phone and then folds back in when you don't need it. So it's just this little thing, and you can put a design on the back of your pop socket because I don't know why, but people want designs on the back of pop sockets. So Amazon has a merch category called the pop socket, and I don't know if that's found in the general Merch by Amazon platform, but if it is, I don't see it in there. It might only be available for some sellers. So Amazon does do stuff like that. They'll make something available for one person and not for another person. So I've been hearing about this coffee mug thing, that they were looking at rolling out coffee mugs as a merch product. And if that happens, it will have an effect on my business because I sell mostly coffee mugs. I mean, just that's mostly what I sell. And if somebody is out there selling coffee mugs, you do get a bit of a boost selling coffee mugs on FBA through Amazon Prime. So it could have an effect on my business. And you know what? If that happens, I'm just going to prepare for it. So don't sit there and worry about things that could happen but haven't happened yet. You know, if somebody trademarks a phrase that you're using and takes down your listing, you know what you do? You say, oh, rats, okay, let me come up with 10 more different phrases. Just give the so-called middle finger to people who do these takedowns by just being more successful doing something else. Don't sit there and argue with someone if they want to do a takedown on your listing, even if you don't think that their takedown is legitimate, because there are still tons of phrases out there that are not trademarked and that will sell. So you got to find those phrases and work on marketing them. And with that, guys, we're going to cut this short here. Hopefully you learned something about Merch by Amazon. I know I'm not actually doing it, so I'm not giving you the best tips here. I didn't even talk about how to optimize your title because it's a little bit different than optimizing your title, say, on Etsy. But I am going to link to some cool blog posts. I'm not making any money from those blog posts. I just thought they were interesting. And you can have a look for yourself. And if you want to open your merch store and in 5 months from now you're making some money, let me know. Let me know, because I'm always looking for success stories, guys. So with that, I wish you a happy, merry, delightful spring. And we'll see you next time. Cheers.